Good Thursday evening. Welcome to another edition of the Sideline Junkies Thursday night throwdown.
Thursday.
Hey man, we need to have a monster truck show after that. It's me, the big guy KG, sitting in with the Midnight Rider, none other than first and foremost, like we do every show. How you feeling tonight?
Yo, I'm good. I just saw the Black Carolina helmets. Ooh, they got the black on black. Ooh, looking tough.
Look, I'd
have to go with a baby blue sleeve though.
I'm gonna go ahead and show my age though. Them joints look wet. I'm gonna go ahead and show my age with that one. But welcome to another great show, another edition. We're gonna start this one off fast and furious because something came down today and it needed to be talked about. Me personally, I'm not too happy about it because I'm just the time, and it's not about what it is, it's just the timing of it. Carl Racine, the Attorney General of Washington, D.C., announced yesterday that he had a big announcement coming at 12 o'clock today. It wound up coming around 1. Here's the thing. The way Washington responded to it and the oh man, I got to pull this up because this right here was just, it was a farce.
Talking about the last night's statement.
Last night's statement. It says, nope, that's not it. JP Finlay posted it, and I know. Hold on.
He went off today. He and B Mitch.
Yeah,
Fire.
he did. And this is the statement. Less than 3 months ago, I got to read it from the phone. Less than 3 months ago, a 23-year-old player on our team was shot multiple times in broad daylight. Despite the out-of-control violent crime in D.C., today the Washington Commanders learned for the first time on Twitter that the D.C. Attorney General will be holding a press conference to make a major announcement related to the organization tomorrow. The Commanders have fully cooperated with the AG's investigation for nearly a year. As recently as Monday, a lawyer for the team met with the AG, who did not suggest at the time that he intended to take any action, and in fact revealed fundamental misunderstandings of the underlying facts. It is unfortunate that in his final days in office, Mr. Racine appears more interested in making splashy headlines based on offbeat legal theories rather than doing the hard work of making the streets safe for our citizens, including bringing justice to the people who shot one of our players. Let's unpack that real quick.
Go ahead. I'm gonna defer the beginning and let you go ahead because you've been ready for this one.
Okay.
I already see the Chambers card. Yeah, you good. Go ahead, man.
Number one, we're gonna handle this piece by piece. So let's handle last night first. This statement came out. And when this statement came out, I think I asked the same thing that a lot of people from the fan base asked. What the fuck is Jason Wright thinking? Like, why would you release a statement like that without even knowing what the fuck was going on? What the fuck are you thinking? And I do mean that. Go ahead.
Whoa. Everybody keeps saying Jason Wright.
Ain't he
hold on, listen to me. Listen to me. This is a behavior that I've seen for the last 20 years. See, I always think these statements are Dan just trying to get his out there first or get some kind of thing back and play the victim role. So that's why I hate when they make a statement because it's always the same trash. And we'll go ahead. Let's go to the next part. Okay. Some more of the trash.
Now, that's the first thing I thought. But to bring up this, and you don't know what this press conference is about, you just say, hey, well, the violence in our city. And Ron Rivera said something. A reporter said, well, you talked about the violence in D.C. Ron said, no, I didn't say that. He said, I said the violence is plaguing the United States of America. And DC's not the only violent city. Chicago's not the only violent city. There's violent cities everywhere in the U.S. So for them to say DC's, the only places there's violence, I don't like that.
So here's the other thing. They don't even know what the AG does because the AG has no involvement in criminal cases. So there's another moment where your lack of preparation and rushing to get something done bites you in the ass and makes you look stupid.
Here's my thing. That response, Coach Thompson used to have a saying. Sometimes you got to see nothing and say nothing. If it don't apply, let it fly. You got an announcement about us, you ain't talked to us. Okay, fine. Let's see what the fuck you got. I'm going to sit back and wait. But instead, they went on the defense about something and dragged Brian Robinson's shooting into it that didn't need to be done. Piss poor job by PR from Washington. I don't care if it was Jason, I don't care who it was. It was piss poor from the organization. Brian Robinson's agent was pissed last night. And I do mean pissed. Rightfully so.
Yeah, I mean, this kid's trying to heal.
Exactly. So here you have yet another good player that's probably just been alienated from this organization. Not the team, but the organization. Who wants to stay here for that? Honestly, who wants to stay here? Because once his contract is up, I got him walking. I got him walking. Just my thoughts. And he's only a rookie this year.
Right, so you got 3 more years of him under team control. And you got a 5th year if you want to do a franchise tag. I think the bigger problem is just, again, fundamentally, this team tries to take some situation to verify or validate the action or to diminish the action that's being taken against them. Instead of doing what you said, just be quiet, sit and wait. This is why I always think it's Dan, because Dan has that very impetuous side. Like he has that pettiness in him. And I mean, think about what was it? I think they put spoiled milk in the learner's sweet. So I got everybody sticking them. Yeah, I mean, stuff like that. So when I think of that, I think of a person that's a kid, and he has to strike first. And I think that's been his mentality. And I think that's part of the reason why this city, the organization, has to pay so much to get somebody here, and then that person leaves in 1 or 2 years because they're not given the opportunity to do the job that they were brought here for. I mean, think about Brian LaFemina. Great relationship with the media, great everything. I mean, it was like everything was turning around. It looked like the franchise was being transparent. All of a sudden, Bruce and Dan go start looking at the numbers. Oh, we're not selling this, we're not selling that. And they diminished everything he did and got him out of here in 8 months.
Look at
turn around an organization. You can't get somebody 8 months to turn around a busted organization.
Look at what they did to Scott McCloughan. And I say they, as in Bruce Allen. Bruce Allen, God, I love him. I love him because he's a legacy. I love him because of his dad and everything that he's meant to this. His family has meant to this organization. And when he came on board, I was like, we got some stability. No more Vinny Serrato. We got some stability because he's going to put people into place. And I love legacy hires when they're good. But when you bring in Scott McCloughan to help out with scouting, and Scott, I in my honest belief, Scott McCloughan, Doug Williams, and that scouting department, they pulled out some gems. You know, they had some guys. Scott McCloughan was a consultant first, then they brought him in. To say that he had relapsed and started drinking, and you leak all of this stuff to the press, that's why he's leaving it. You were mad because, and this is Bruce Allen. He was getting the credit, but he was really mad because the players were actually responding to Scott McCloughan more than they were responding to Bruce Allen. Somebody had said something or did something. I can't remember who it was. It
was one of the corners. It was I think it was Bashard Breeland.
And he went down to the locker room after the game. He waited till he got out of the shower. Before he got in the shower, he said, after you shower, meet me in my office.
Right.
Said it was behind closed doors. He dressed him down behind closed doors. Basically, he went and he heated up the iron. He pounded it out. He fashioned it. Then he cooled it off. He didn't just heat it up and cool it off. He fashioned it.
Yeah.
Breland responded to that. He responded to that with one of his best games. My God, how can you be mad at that? This is the guy. If I'm working with you, you got your ear to the ground, you got the pulse. I'm going to tell you straight up, look, you got the inside track. Do what we got to do to keep these guys happy. And if they come to you and they air their grievances, fine. That's between y'all. I'm going to do what I got to do to help us win. I'm going to help you help me. We on the same team. Our goal is to win a championship. Because if we win a ring, No matter what trials and tribulations, we're not going to agree all the time. We're going to argue, we're going to fuss, we're going to fight. But at the end of the day, when we can hold up that ring and say, we won this, this is ours. Nobody can take this from us. It makes it all better.
Well, there was rumblings in the underground that, like, because the players were responding, because the media was saying, in Scott we trust, and giving Scott the credit for all that was happening. Like, I think there was even a press conference or an interview he had where he kind of was like, well, there were guys here when he got here, you know, trying to like give himself some props in the midst of it. And when I heard that comment, or that kind of came out in the underground, in the radio, I kind of figured that this ain't gonna work. And then you put a man with a drinking problem in a place that was being treated like a frat house.
But here's the thing. Contrary to popular belief, Scott never relapsed.
Okay.
They had to figure out a way to get him out to save face, to say, okay, Scott's got to go, but we can't just say he got to go because he lost. He you know,
getting too much credit,
right? But he was winning the dick measuring contest with Bruce. So Bruce was like, okay, let me show you how long mine is because I can get you up out of here. But here's the problem. And I think this is what really turned the tables. That Green Bay game when Kirk went off, we were down early. Kirk went off, and next thing you know, we blew out Green Bay. What was that? Monday Night Football? It was a Sunday night.
Sunday night. It was a Sunday night game.
And at the end of the game, Kirk said, "You gonna pay me now?" He said, "Oh yeah, I'm gonna pay you. I'm gonna pay you." That exchange right there pissed Bruce Allen off because Bruce Allen was the one dragging this whole Kirk Cousins thing out. And then, really and truly, if you would have gave Kirk Cousins $15-16 million a year, and then based it the rest of it, the $5-6 million a year on incentives, which he would have hit, Kirk wouldn't have never left. He would have never signed a franchise tag because the money would have been there. Kirk, you throw for 3,500 yards, we give you this. You throw for 20 touchdowns, we give you this. 30 touchdowns, 4,000 yards. Kirk Cousins threw for 4,000 yards every year he was here. All you had to do was put the weapons around him.
But the problem was he wasn't the guy that Dan wanted. And their pettiness, I mean, think about what you got for Kirk, what you got for Trent Williams, and it was one other player that we've let players just walk, and all you got out of it was the compensatory pick. That don't do anything for you.
Not at all.
I mean, you put Sheriff in that category. Like, at a certain point, this organization has to be proactive and not reactive. I mean, there's a litany of just reactive things. These statements, reactionary. The fact that the team name, you couldn't secure the right team name when you knew for 3 years that the team was going to have to change the name. You actually heard longer than that. You knew the rumblings way before that. Why not pull a guy and say, hey, look, man, we might have this thing, do some research, secure us a couple names, a couple domains, so just in case that's just the fan, we got it. We prepared. We don't do that. You don't sign Kirk Cousins ahead of time. So it's just a litany of things that this organization does, and it's ridiculous, man.
Here's my thing. When you talk about the name change, I thought that I know it's been going on since the 90s, but I've heard that this whole name change thing has been going on. It went on for the 60s. When we start winning in the 70s, it died down.
Mm-hmm.
You know, then in the 80s, you had the era of Gibbs. So, you know, you had 4 Super Bowl runs in 11 years, but you were always in contention. We were never sorry in the 80s. Joe Gibbs got it done. 90 was a down year, and they were protesting then. When 91 hit and we were the best team in the NFL, protests died. When they started losing, especially when they moved into FedEx Field and started losing, which was Jack Kent Cooke Stadium, the protests started then again. And they continued because we continued to lose. But whenever we won, those protests died down. Now, here's my thing. You did all of that. You knew it was going to come because they've been anytime you're losing, that's when everything piles on. My wife always says when one thing goes bad, something else coming.
Right.
You gotta expect it and roll with the punches. So handling that was another miscue. The way they handled this. Now, jumping back on topic, we go to the day. Attorney General Carl Racine, he wrote on Twitter, "My office is suing the Commanders owner, Dan Snyder, the Commanders, NFL Commissioner Roger Goodell, and the NFL for colluding to deceive DC residents, district residents, the heart of the Commanders fan base. For those of you that listen on the playback.
Keep going, man. Keep going. Come on.
My face. About the investigation into toxic workplace culture. After public reporting revealed the sexual misconduct, harassment, and misogyny ran rampant for decades at the team, the defendants promised DC residents that the league was going to fix the toxic culture, including by fully cooperating with the independent investigation. That was a lie. Instead, the NFL turned a blind eye to Snyder's extensive efforts to silence or intimidate witnesses, and the NFL and the Commanders entered into a secret agreement that gave Snyder power to veto the release of any results. With today's lawsuit, we are standing up for DC residents who were lied to and deceived. And we're standing with the brave victims and employees of the team who told us the truth during our investigation and came forward about what they suffered and witnessed while working. Because these actions largely took place outside the district, we do not have jurisdiction to specifically file suit regarding the workplace harassment and misconduct. By suing today, we are using every enforcement tool at our disposal to hold the Commanders, Dan Snyder, the NFL, and Roger Goodell accountable. Here's my thing. It's been rumblings for quite some time that things inside of Redskins Park. I don't want to hear about the command post, none of that shit. It's been rumblings for quite some time that things inside of Redskin Park weren't on the up and up. Mm-hmm. When everything started to hit the fan, guys getting fired, you're like, why the hell he get fired? Like, that's one of our front office guys. What the hell you got to do in the front office to get fired? Larry Michaels' retirement. Then everything comes out about the cheerleaders, and we're going back to 2014 and stuff like that. And then you start pulling out articles where this stuff was known. Where was that energy then? When these complaints were filed, where was that energy then? That's number one. Carl Racine on his last days out. And one thing I did agree about the Washington statement, you're trying to make a splash on your way out. Where was this energy when you first came in? Where was this energy 2 years ago? Where was all of this? Because a lot of this stuff, and it was enough to go and do a lawsuit and do all the things you're trying to do now, was common knowledge, and it was proof. Why did it take you so long to do it now? Why are you trying to make your bones off of this? Like, why? Why? And you talking about the district is the heart of the fan base. Most of the people that live in DC proper, Northeast, Southeast, Southwest, Northwest. Most of the people that live there now are transplants. None of them know about us. They're from different parts of the country because they come here and when you got to turn the go-go down at 7 o'clock. I don't want to hear that. Man, it's the crank corner. We don't turn that off till 9. Shut up. These transplants come in, they take over our city. They start saying things should be this way. This is not the heart of the Washington fan base no more. We're all scattered around right now. So don't give me that heart of the fan base shit. Don't give me none of that. You do this, but why now? Where was this energy for the victims 2 years ago? Where was the energy for these victims 8 years ago when all this stuff first started? I'm sorry, when it first came to light in 2014. Where was the energy then? Where was it then? It's too little too late. This means nothing to me. I don't give a damn if it was Washington. I don't give a damn if it was Dallas. If it was Dallas and we knew this shit was going on and you still swept it under the rug and didn't say nothing and you waited 8 years, I'd say the same thing. What's the point? It don't matter what team it is. What the fuck is the point? That's my whole problem.
So I'm gonna ask you a question. Like, when the show is over, like, do you ever take snippets of part of the show and save it?
I try to.
All right, so what you just did, I need you to just go ahead and record, just pull that aside. Because in the next 2 weeks or the next 3 weeks, you're going to get Maryland's version of this, and you're going to get Virginia's version of this. So this ain't over. It's like 5 investigations going at this point right now.
And we still got a federal investigation that's supposed to be going.
Exactly. Here's one thing that I don't know if you're getting to this next, but did you see the thing about the season ticket holders and the money?
Yeah, that too.
Okay, so again, Washington being reactionary, finally decided, yeah, we got your money. We've been trying to reach you. Okay, and get you your money back. We have it. We'll send it back to you. Now, some of these are coming with requests for NDAs. Why would I need an NDA to get my money back?
Because I don't want you talking about me not giving you your money when I'm supposed to. What you mean? That's obvious.
So I understand your vitriol, but there's so many layers to this cake. I get the timing. Don't get me wrong. Timing.
That's my problem.
But
that's my problem.
But I think sometimes in our world, in our media, like something has to hit close to home for it to actually spark something. And I think the money coming back to the people of the DC, because I guarantee you, Racine probably had season tickets or a premium package. The mayor might have had a premium package. I think some of the stuff, when it gets personal, then it comes to the forefront and it becomes part of their agenda. So that's my personal thing. I don't know for a fact, but I think that's what happened. Some of the stuff started hitting close to home. It started becoming a priority. Then I think the biggest bombshell is the Beth Wilkinson report was not written down. It was 3 sentences, and they were like, "Yeah, we're good." And it was a fake fine and a fake suspension. Mm-hmm. And I think when that happened, honestly, I think if they had handled that situation right, we wouldn't be in this situation. Then if you come behind that, and if you don't have the leaked emails, we don't have this situation. And I think that's the problem. The problem is, like, they've let too many things, again, I'm being reactionary. They let things build up and happen, or they did something thinking they were covering their ass, and they actually made it worse for themselves.
I can agree with that. Now, don't take my venom, my anger. Don't take that as saying, well, you shouldn't be suing my team. No,
I get that.
I think it should have happened 2 years ago, because this was common knowledge. When you keep doing all these investigations, and you're saying, okay, Daniel Snyder, you got to pay $10,000. $10,000 to Daniel Snyder is like what? Maybe a $20 bill to us? Let me open my wallet. Hold on. Let me open my wallet. There's your $10,000 right there. There's a $20 bill. That's Daniel Snyder. He just throws it at you like, yeah, there you go. I need a receipt and I need my change back. That's what it is. Put my damn $20 back. That's my breakfast in the morning. Yeah. So, I mean, but that's what it is. And see, that's the problem. Two things. You talk about the season ticket holders. I have been on the season ticket holding waiting list for 10 years now.
I thought that they did away with the list.
I was on the list for 10 years. Before they did away with it, I was on the list for 10 years. I apologize. I don't mean right now, because I was like, yeah, no. They called BJ maybe 3 months after we signed up and asked him that he wanted to get in. And he had to turn it down because the amount of money they was asking for, he said he had to turn it down. I think it was like, for the seats, a couple $1,000. Yeah. Because they were good seats, but they were a couple $1,000. And he wanted to move. We like to sit up in the upper bowl. That's what a real fan said. We like to sit up there. And he couldn't get no seats up there. They were trying to give him seats down at the bottom in the lower bowl. He didn't want that, especially for that money. I get that. I stayed on that waiting list for 10 years. And then they finally called me, and I'm like, I don't even want the tickets anymore. I don't. But somebody said on Twitter that they sold their tickets on the Washington Commanders app and have yet to get paid for it. He said he sold it. This was Jacksonville. He said he sold his tickets for Jacksonville on the Commanders app, which I had. I was like, I deleted it. It wasn't worth it. But he sold his tickets and have yet to get paid for it. It's so many problems that this team and this organization, we're not even talking about the team. We're talking front office. The organization has, because the guys that play on the field, they're actually cleaning this. It's what goes on in the office, but you know what? I can't even say that, because things that went on in the office translated down on the field. Jay Gruden, his bust down, messing with Capri Bibbs. That's why he benched Bibbs and fucking Alex Smith got hurt. Come on, bruh. I'm not, because we busting the same woman. DJ Swearinger. God, I love DJ Swearinger. God, I love him, because when he was here And he started talking about things. He started talking and talking and talking and talking. Nobody was listening. Everybody was saying he's a cancer. He's just melancholy. He need to get out of here. And I'm like, no, he's saying something, and y'all are not listening. Every time he would tweet something or he would say something, I would send it to BJ. I'm like, dog, he on to something. There's something going on. He was exposing a lot. They cut him. When all of it hit the fan, all he said was, I told you. I told you this was going
on. Sorry about that. I'm sorry. DJ, all you got to do, whatever his last year here was, that there's a top 100 show that they do, and he's in every highlight chasing. So I was done with him. He could, because all he did was complain after the loss, but they were great after every win. Come on, if you keep the same energy. But that's because if we're not doing it the right way, we didn't do it the right way the day we was winning, and then next week we decided not to do it the right way. That was the only complaint I had about him. And then the other complaint was, if you always chasing, you ain't doing something right.
Well, that's true. That's true. Now I'm not saying DJ was
Monte Nicholson. Good God. Sorry. That's another side rant.
Don't start me on Monte because I had high hopes for him. But the thing with DJ, I'm not even talking on the field. I'm talking off the field. When the things that he said off the field, he was right. Like, my man took his NFL earnings and he didn't got into a lucrative business. He runs his own DSP for Amazon down in North Carolina.
Okay.
Like, and most people are like, oh man, you work for Amazon. But see, if you own your own DSP, the amount of money that you bring in, especially you got good drivers, man, you can bring in well over $1 million a month. Trust me.
Okay.
Trust me.
Believe you.
Oh, believe me. I know the former employee. I know the books. But it's very strict. So you got to have people that's willing to work. Hell, if I was still in that line of work, I'd be like, you know what, DJ, I'll come down and work for you for a little bit. You know, show these dudes how we do it. But anyway.
Got Thursday night.
This the thing. Everything that came out today, the way Washington handled it, what has been done, what has been said, I just think it's too little too late. Because if you're trying to push Snyder out and this is your way of getting rid of him, okay, good luck. He was on his way out anyway. It's like, if you're going to finish him, finish him. On the other hand, I'm thinking about DC as a city. And I always say this, and people say, man, you crazy. If Marion Barry was still mayor, none of this would have ever happened. Because you know why it would have never happened? Washington would have never left DC. There would never be anything going on because they had such a working relationship. The only reason why Washington left DC is because Jack Kent Cook patted daggone Sharon Pratt Nixon on the ass. If he wouldn't have did that, they would have never left DC. But my thing is, everybody has something to say. What happened in the front office and what has been happening, the whole toxic work culture has been terrible. And the thing is, you decide to do this now. The victims that suffered through all of this, you're getting ready to put them back through it again. And are you going to do it right this time? But what took so long for them to get justice? That's the problem that I have. I don't care that it's happening. What took so long if you knew this? If I tell you, hey, Ben, my arm's broke. Look at this. My arm's broke. You be like, oh, okay. And I'm telling you that for 8 years at the least. And you like, okay. And then all of a sudden, you wondering why my arm's green and falling off. Ben, I broke my arm 8 years ago. You never paid attention to me. So my bad. That's supposed to make it okay?
So here's my answer to that. The team was called the Redskins for 70 years, something like that, right? Probably longer than that.
No,
it had to be about 70 years. Let's just use 70 as a good round number.
89.
Just a good thing. So they've been called the Redskins for 70 years, but they didn't change the name until 3 years ago. because something happened and that triggered a social response. Things have to happen to trigger the response. So this report comes out, lack thereof, and that triggered a response. Then the housing thing comes up. I mean, the Senate thing comes up, and it triggers a response. That's all this is. We're like, this is not being done in the heart of finding true justice. It's trying to kind of make up for the mistakes you made, and then some people can get a profit out of it or whatever. I'm not saying that these people didn't suffer. I'm not saying any of that, and I'm not saying they're doing it for money. What I'm saying is some people that jump on the cause just to be like, to have the satisfaction of saying they helped change something. Like my least favorite reporter in the Washington area is Mike Wise, or was Mike Wise. And he would say he would never say the name Redskins, but every week he showed up and took a check from the show called the Redskins Report. So you helped me out with that. So that's all I got on that part. And that's all. I'm going to stop because I don't want to divert us, because we're about 30 minutes in. We probably got to get some time to break down this Carolina game.
Yeah, you took a check. I can't argue with facts. And you talk about diverting. Like when you said that about people that jump onto a cause just to say, oh, I changed something.
Yeah.
It made me think about what's going on in the NBA. And it's a lot of backpedaling going on in the NBA. And one of my favorite players came out and said something. And I'm just like, bro, you broke my heart already. It's no way to fix that right now. Like, you broke my heart because you left your brother hanging over some shit that wasn't even some shit. But we're going to talk about that too. And we'll talk about not tonight. We got to put a pin in that, because we need a whole show to devote to that, because there's a lot to be said and it's got to be handled delicately. So
yeah, I'm gonna let you carry that one, because that's not in my wheelhouse to the extent that I know it's in yours. So yeah, I'm gonna let you have that and ride with it. Yeah,
because that's fine, but I have to talk to legal counsel first.
Before I do that. You have to gently say some words and throw some allegedlys and supposedlys and some other things out there.
But I got the documentary that's on Amazon that's in question. I think I'm gonna sit down and watch that this weekend, as well as read the book.
So you know that documentary, normally I think it was like $2.99 to rent.
It's now $4.99. $49.99.
Yeah. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. But right. you mad at Kyrie though?
Hey. Hey.
You know, I've already been chomping at the bit to get to it. But
any publicity is good publicity.
Yeah.
And I'll leave it at that, man.
And you know what? We're gonna move on. Oh, to your point, they were the Redskins from 1932. I'm sorry, because they started out as the Boston Braves.
Braves, right? So they had to be 38 or 39.
That was 32. Then they became the Boston Redskins in 33. Okay. Came here in 37.
Right.
So 87 years is the Redskins.
Okay.
So, this we gonna, of course, we're gonna keep an eye on it, because I want to see if what you say comes to fruition, where we're getting it from the same thing from Maryland and Virginia. Because if it's gonna happen, and you know what, if it does happen, that means this land deal is null and void until Dan sells. And I've seen Virginia say, you know, if Dan sells, you know, hey, the land deal is back on the table.
Yeah.
Who wants to?
Everything's back on the table the second Dan strokes the check and sends a direct deposit or sends the EFT. Oh, I'm sorry, he gets the EFT, not sends
exactly. And I believe that wholeheartedly. I think DC's even back on the table after that. I think Muriel Bowser will say, okay, I'm ready to come to the table and talk.
I'm not sure on that one.
But
only reason I say that is because if Muriel's leading the charge and it's not Phil Mendelssohn, I just have these thoughts that I think the council will crush it if it's not their idea. If they're not the brain trust behind the move, they won't let it go. They won't let it fly. And that's just a personal thing.
Hey, you know what? I'm not a DC resident anymore, but I believe everything you're saying. because that seems the way of the world. If it ain't my idea, I ain't with it.
Right.
But then if I come up with the same idea that you came up with 2 weeks ago, but I get credit for, oh yeah, that was my idea. So, I'm all for it. But we'll put a pin in that. We'll talk about Goodell's side maybe Sunday if we can hear what he has to say. Hear what the NFL has to say, because that's a lot of money DC's trying to go up against right now. So, and when you got money, you can make things disappear.
Oh, this is going to have to disappear.
Yeah.
Because the big word is in play. Because all it takes is for Dan to say, well, this is how we do it in the league.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
And then, then you talking, and
we got to open the books. We got to look at the books. Nah.
And Carl Rancine is an expert in antitrust law. Right. He is an absolute expert.
Yep.
And I'm like, if that's the case, dog, you should have been talking this shit 3-4 years ago. You should have been talking this.
There's always been rumblings about affecting the antitrust part of the NFL agreement, but it just never. They always did enough, and I'll say it that way. They always did enough to keep it on the back burner.
And here's the thing: the NFL is a multi-billion-dollar company every year, from shared revenue and from revenue period between the NFL, the TV money, sponsorships, everything that they bring in billions of dollars. And if I'm not mistaken, I think the NFL brings in more money than the NBA.
You pay the commissioner $47 million. Enough said.
Does what's the MLB commissioner? Does Adam Silver or the MLB commissioner make that much money?
I doubt it very seriously, bro. But let's go, man. Carolina, Atlanta.
Atlanta.
We add snippets and we can keep going.
Atlanta is 2.5-point favorites over Carolina tonight, and Carolina coming out and, like the Midnight Rider said, them black on black helmets. Over under is 41.5. Now they just matched up. What was that? 2 weeks ago?
Yep.
They just matched up, and Atlanta came away with the victory in overtime, all over a pretty much dumb penalty, in my opinion. But you can't criticize the refs because I ain't got no money to pay fines, so I'm not going to criticize the refs. But what you got on this game?
I just don't get that penalty. Like, I mean, I understand the excitement, the joy, but why take the helmet off? You can spike the ball, you can do everything else besides dunk on the goalpost and take your helmet off. It didn't make sense to me. I think
that right there, the dunking on the goalpost and taking the helmet off, I don't like those rules.
Well, I understand the goalpost, because if you dunk on the goalpost and hold it and then it gets out of line, now you got to have a game delay and actually get the goalpost realigned again. So that's the only reason I say I'm cool on that. So this game, it's a whole different ball game than from 2 weeks ago, because 2 weeks ago the Atlanta Falcons were without Cordarrelle Patterson, and outside his mama, probably I'm the next person to hype this man up more than his mama. And Cordarrelle is going to put on a show tonight. And if Mariota can just get an ounce of accuracy, like just a little bit more, this offense is going to be so potent, and this division is in their grasp. Like these two teams, I mean, I think that lead is 4-5 or 4-4, like something like that. So I mean, the division is, nobody's running away with it. Atlanta has the weapons. I think we did a special, or we talked about them a couple of weeks ago, and right after we talked about them, Patterson got hurt, and then Pitts hasn't been getting thrown the football, and so like everything fell apart. But Patterson's the thing that makes this offense go. On the other side, tell BJ I'm sorry, but unfortunately, the Carolina Panthers brought a butter knife to a gunfight. They got PJ Walker starting at quarterback, and I just don't like his consistency. I just don't. It's a lot of things I see him leaving on the field. He had a good game 2 weeks ago, but last week I think it just showed you, man. I think the brother's a backup at best, and honestly, I would have him as my third guy, not even my second guy. DJ Moore has been inconsistent this year, and it seems like only when Baker plays does Terrence Marshall get any shine or any run. So defensively for both teams, I get an edge to Carolina. Brian Burns and boys get it going. But as you saw, the score was 37-34 2 weeks ago. So they ain't really stopping nobody too much or too tough. So I like the over, and I'm going with ATL in the -2.5. I actually think this is going to be a 20. No, I think it's going to be a 28-24 type of ball game. And I think the last team with the ball wins, and that'll be Atlanta.
Okay, Meatloaf. Who you got, Atlanta or Carolina?
Okay.
Carolina? Oh, you just saying hi. So that's who you. So do you think Marcus Mariota gonna have a good game? Well, I guess that's a no.
All right.
I guess she's done with that. But I agree with everything you're saying. Now you talking. I can't get you to talk any other time, but now you talking. I think Atlanta's gonna have a good game, and I picked Atlanta in this one, and I'm gonna take the over. I think Atlanta blows Carolina out. They blow the doors off of them tonight. As much as I want to love PJ, it's not his time. It's not his time yet. And yeah. I think if you give him a chance, yes, yet. Because everybody, come on now, 3 weeks ago when he got in, everybody was like, "Oh yeah, this dude right here, yeah, he can play." Then it goes from that. Yeah, exactly.
It's no tape. That's the only reason. Once that tape comes out, the eye in the sky don't lie.
Yeah.
Once they learn what you like and what you don't like.
And see, you know what happens when you do that? You know what has to happen when you do that? Once the tape comes out, you have to start adding wrinkles. You have to start building on the likes. You see what I'm saying? So tonight, if he comes out and he does something they're not expecting, and they be like, okay, that wasn't on tape. Exactly. That's why I love when the starter goes down, the backup comes in, and he plays like gangbusters, and then he comes out the next week, and you're like, oh yeah, we got him, and you didn't add nothing different to what he's comfortable with, and then you lose, and you wonder why you lose. That's why you lose, because you have to add something every week that's different to keep them on their heels. I don't think Steve Wilkes is a good coach to me. He is. He's always been handed, he's been dealt a bad hand as a head coach here and in Arizona. But I think he has an interim tag, correct?
Yes.
If they remove that interim tag at the end of this season, oh no, it's not happening. Come on now. Mm-mm. He's going to interview for, and they're going to bring in some ESPN analysts that ain't coach. They're going to bring in Lou Holtz.
Oh, Sunday I'm not going to be here because I'm calling plays for Indianapolis this week. So
damn.
Yeah, man. I'm
flying
out tomorrow.
That mean you old court? Can I get on as wide receiver coach or something? No, that's
Reggie Wayne. They got Reggie Wayne.
Damn.
Yeah, so I beat the assistant QB coach in Madden, and that's how I got the play calling job. Yeah.
Damn. Well, can I send in a couple play? I got a play that will.
Yeah, just shoot it to me.
Okay. Good. Because I got a play. Yeah, I got some Steve Spurrier plays where you got 4 offensive linemen.
I don't know if I'm gonna go that far. I got an offensive lineman as a coach. So I think we're gonna be in a lot of 21 personnel, 2 tight ends. So yeah. Let me stop, man. I'm gonna say that for Sunday.
Look, well, shoot, you can be broadcasting from the game.
Yeah. I just do it in the locker room.
And they got the Raiders. Ooh, boy.
Yeah. So I think the one thing about this game, you said blowout.
Yes.
I don't think Carolina's gonna move the ball.
I don't think Carolina's gonna move the ball. And now Baker's in there, they're gonna move it a little bit. But Baker has this thing where he'll move the ball the first quarter and maybe the third quarter, but the second and fourth, he can't do nothing.
Or vice versa, he'll do the second and fourth.
Yeah, it's like 2 quarters out of a game he'll move the ball. I watched him do it against Washington a couple year before last.
That was the Haskins Alex Smith season. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, because we were in Cleveland. It was hot that day too, and Haskins actually threw for 300 yards, and that was the game that got Haskins benched, if I'm not mistaken, because he was in the locker room. Nope, that was a Baltimore game that got him benched.
Right.
He threw for 300. He was in the locker room. He's like, yeah, you see, I threw for 300, and I was like, yeah, you shouldn't bench him over that. You should talk to him.
It was more to that than all of that, because even that touchdown he threw in that Browns game, I I know you're gonna say the result is what matters, but the process was wrong. He read the field wrong, and he got to that late. He actually had it the whole time, and that touchdown to what was the receiver that they got from San Diego?
Was that Gandy Golden, wasn't it?
Nah, it wasn't Gandy Golden.
I know he threw one to Gandy Golden at Cleveland.
It was like
we talking Cleveland or Baltimore?
Eatman, something like that. It's
because we only had him for one season. I was like, bring him back.
Yeah.
I was like, bring him back and let's see what he can do if he can make this team, because he was better than Trey Quinn. And Trey Quinn, oh my God. Another one that disappointed me. But that's
you're getting in the rabbit hole.
Not even gonna get into that. But Baker has a thing where he does not perform well all the time. And then it was a season. You had Juice Landry, OBJ, you had Austin Hooper and David Njoku. And you mean to tell me you still couldn't hit guys? You had Kareem Hunt and Nick Chubb. You could not win with that?
Nah, dog. I watched a couple of them ball games. They put it on Baker, but they dropped some stuff on Baker too.
Yeah, that is true.
Baker had it wasn't all like that year. I was a little frustrated with the fans because I'm like, if you watching this objectively, he put in the ball sometimes. Now sometimes he was behind and late, or he missed something, but the times he was on time, there was a lot of drops.
Yeah,
and the problem with David Njoku is he looked like Tarzan, but sometimes he played like Jane.
I shouldn't have laughed that hard. Oh my God. And you know what? I'm gonna say this and then we're gonna get out of here. The thing with Baker Mayfield, I was not a fan of his coming out of college, because I thought he was cocky, he was brash, he was just like not really. I'm like, you haven't won anything. You won a Heisman, but you haven't won anything, but you just real cocky. What made me a fan of his is watching him on Hard Knocks. And he took the sacrifice, and he wasn't gonna be the starter, and he came in with Tyrod and it was Tyrod and Kevin Hogan.
If you ever want to be a backup quarterback, just follow Tyrod, because he'll get you on the field.
Yeah.
He'll get hurt and get you back on the field. No time.
And the thing is, his preparation, and that's one thing about Tyrod Taylor, his preparation, the way he approaches the game, he is going to make one hell of a head coach in the pro ranks. He's going to make one hell of a coordinator. The dude has got the it. So, watch out for that coming soon. Hopefully, well, not soon, but once he retires, that's the first person I'm calling. Hey, got this OC position. I want you to come in as an offensive assistant, and then once my OC retires in 2 years, I want you to take over. He has the it factor. That's one thing he has. But that's what made me a fan of Baker. And I pull for Baker everywhere. Every season I pull for him, and it's just, I said this is a couple years ago. I used to say this all the time. Excuse me. Cleveland's going to turn the corner. Cleveland's going to win with Baker Mayfield. They won that one season. And BJ told me, he said you was one season off, because you said they were going to the playoffs the year before. They went to the playoffs the next year. You were one season off. But nobody else believed that but you. And maybe the organization, maybe 40% of the organization. I was like, I see the work that they're putting in. They have, this is with Freddie Kitchens. I'm like, you got guys there. You got good people. And you see night and day from when Kitchens came in.
That's what you call it. Kitchens was only a 1 year stop. That was Stefanski. Okay, yeah. Because I was calling, I was calling them. I would say Kitchens was going to take them, because you saw night and day how they played under Kitchens as opposed to how they played under Hugh Jackson. So it was like a night and day thing, and that's why I was like, they're going to go. And firing Kitchens after one season, I was like, not good. But we talking about Atlanta, Carolina. So you gave your pick, I gave mine. I'm saying 41-7 Atlanta. Oh.
Yeah, I'm saying they're going to blow the doors off this early.
Just don't like that quarterback enough. I just don't think he was consistent enough. Mariota. I just don't think he's consistent enough in the passing game.
You know how to make Mariota consistent? No, not even playing with you. You know how to make Mariota consistent. The biggest threat you have, you got Kyle Pitts, Mariota, Cordell Patterson. You don't want him to get the ball to Kyle Pitts. You don't want him to hand it off, but Mariota can run himself. This is where you got to introduce 20% of read option.
Well, they have it in there because you got to remember this is Arthur Smith.
Yeah,
so he's got that stuff in there.
But you got to use it to your advantage to the point where I hate bringing this up because it seems like I can't get out the pass, but it's the truth. What made RG3 effective?
2012. I know the RPO, all that stuff is it.
You got to, but you got a lot of it. You got to give him time to get the ball out, but he can be effective. But you got to dink and dunk. You got to go read option, but you got to add a West Coast feel to it where it don't take too long to develop. So you got a slant, a tight end screen. You got something that can pick up yards, but you got to dink and dunk. You can't sit there and expect him to go downfield. Just he throwing the ball 40, 50 yards. Nah, dink and dunk, quick stuff.
They punting right now because whatever they just called on third down didn't work.
Well, so damn, yeah. I didn't even know the game started. Hey, y'all jump out of here, go get that game. We done for the night. Hopefully, I'm not gonna make no promises. Hopefully, we'll be back on Saturday. But until then, that's the Midnight Rider. I'm the big guy KG. We don't do no overtime. We are out of here.